Our final speakers today produced one of the most eye-popping headlines of the year. As the Business Journal reported on October 15th, Vantaca secures $300 million investment to fuel growth. The story went on to say that the software company, which was founded in Wilmington 8 years ago, now has more than 270 employees and a valuation of $1.25 billion. This makes Vantaca a unicorn. That probably deserves a round of applause. This makes Vantaca a unicorn, meaning they're a privately held company worth more than $1 billion. Today, Vantaca founder Dave Sawyer and CEO Ben Currin will talk about the company's growth, key decisions, and future plans. They will be interviewed by Business Journal Managing Editor CC Nunn. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage.
Thank you, Ben and Dave, for being here with us. I thought we could start out, and I've spoken with you guys over the past several weeks for different things, and I thought, Ben, if you could kind of explain what Vantaca is, the software, because we say community association management software, but you have a very relatable way of explaining exactly what that is. If you could.
Community association management software isn't obvious. That's not. No. So what we do, I think most of us, and we're in the Southeast. We're in Wilmington. So how many people in the room live in or have ever lived in an HOA or a condo or anything like that? Okay. So that's our industry, right? So the kind of market that we serve is professional management or property management, specializing in homeowners associations, condominium associations, and co-ops. So there's a big market of professional property managers that their whole world is providing those community management services. It's everything from collecting those homeowner assessments that we all love or hate, to paying vendors, navigating insurance, navigating kind of board politics and all that stuff. And we are effectively kind of the infrastructure, the technology infrastructure that kind of undergirds that whole industry. So everything from payment processing to the back office workflows to kind of connecting the ecosystem of banks and attorneys and insurance providers, all that stuff is what we do as Vantaca.
And can I give some data on that? Because I think just to give some context, as Ben mentioned, community association, small industry relatively speaking if you're just living in a little homeowner association, but there's actually 40 million homes in the United States that fall under the umbrella of a community association. 30 million of those homes are actually professionally managed, and there's roughly 375,000 homeowner associations. So it's actually quite a large industry, and that was a big part of our ambition. Was this is a really big place to build a software company when you contemplate 40 million homes or 30 million homes being part of an ecosystem that you can drive incredible value through.
And Vantaca, you guys currently serve about 6 million of those.
6 million of roughly 30 million professionally managed.
Okay. And Dave, if you could take a few minutes to just tell us how you came up with this idea and how you started this journey.
Yeah. So I came out of a small family business in Wilmington, and my family had been in real estate, and we backed our way in, or I backed my way into community association management, which is kind of the normal career path for people that want to get into homeowner association management. Backed my way into it, and I decided that this is a business that's very, very fragmented, very mom and pop, very, very inefficient, and actually ripe for big scale. There's really big economics that you can start to pull together if you can run a bigger scale organization. And so I had a team of talented people, we had a lot of ambition, and we wanted to start scaling up this community association management company much greater than just out, Wilmington, North Carolina. So we were thinking regionally, we were thinking nationally. And as we, continued to solve problems that influenced our ability to scale the business, we were very much governed by technology. We very much hit the ceiling all the time of saying we cannot do this because our software will not allow us to do this. And so I think as typical of a lot of application software companies, we decided we have two options here. We can either just back off and let that be what it is, or we can go out and create our own software solutions. So we decided to take the latter path, and so we went out and pursued. And what was great is I had 15 years of experience in the company and in the industry. Many of my employees had been with me for many years, and so we had deep domain expertise. We understood the business, we understood the industry, and so we had a big head start on going and building a software solution that was actually going to meet up with all the needs, for this industry.
Okay. And what will this $300 million investment, what exactly will this allow Vantaca to do?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think it's in some ways, and this is going to sound like the least exciting answer, it's kind of business as usual. We've been on this really consistent growth trajectory where it hasn't been kind of stair-step moments. It's been year after year just continuing to execute and set bigger and bigger goals and go do that. I think with scale, especially in AI, speed and ability to be on offense and move really fast is very valuable. So for us, it's continuing to kind of nationally scale our products, especially, and invest in AI solutions, and go really take the rest of the market. Like we shared that we're at 6 million doors today of 30 million professionally managed. We really think this is a market that needs our solution everywhere, so we want to rapidly go scale to kind of meet that need. And so it's more of the same and just continued growth both here and across the country.
And I know it's somewhat still to be determined, but will that result in more jobs in Wilmington?
Yeah, absolutely. So the kind of trajectory for us has been, Wilmington's been our headquarters from the very beginning. And just over 50% of our total team members are located physically here in the Wilmington area. That ratio of about 50% has been pretty consistent for the past several years, and we anticipate that will be the same in the next several years. So our only two physical locations are here and in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley, with the vast majority of those folks concentrated here. So that'll be the same.
And we've also talked in the past about, that you have had offers to buy the company. What makes you not want to go that route?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, as I mentioned with the numbers, this is just such a huge opportunity, and since the day that we started the company, I think there was always an understanding that this is a really, really big opportunity, and it's ours to execute against and realize all the benefits of that. So as we moved along through the years, ironically enough, the opportunity just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. So we're not hitting anywhere near a point where we're sitting there questioning, will we continue to be able to grow this thing at a terrific rate? And so I think as long as that potential still exists, I think we want to retain control, if you will, of the agenda and where we're going. So my view on it is, as long as we still have a big, big opportunity in front of us, we don't really have much greater ambition to do anything as far as controlling ownership of the company. We will, from time to time, still need to seek additional capital because it's very expensive to grow a business this size and this scale, but it still has a tremendous amount of potential.
What have been some of your biggest challenges on the road to growth?
Well, there's been a lot, as I'm sure everyone who's kind of built any business of any scale knows. I think if I think back to the early days, I think this ends up being, it was a big challenge, but I think maybe our greatest asset is the fact that we were doing this here and in Wilmington, North Carolina, and not in the Bay Area or somewhere else. I think that we didn't know, maybe out of ignorance or just not being in that environment. Dave and I aren't Silicon Valley guys by our background. Like, we didn't know that you could go raise $10 million with a PowerPoint. Like, we didn't know that was a thing that people did. So we just kind of got after it. And each customer, we'd try to keep them happy and successful so we could hire another engineer and just kind of fight our way through the first several years. So those first few years, with no investment, with truly no money, and the early days was absolutely just like a rock fight of survival. It was not elegant. There was no, there wasn't a whole lot of, big press releases or anything like that. It was just kind of survival. But I think looking back, I'm super grateful, and I think our team is super grateful for that experience, because there were no shortcuts that you can kind of take when you do have access to a ton of capital sometimes. So we built a lot of good muscle and developed some good scar tissue there as well.
And we just heard, from the endowment talking about, looking into what can augment our entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem in Wilmington. What do you think, and from your own experience of building this unicorn company, what do you think Wilmington could benefit from in that area?
You want to start?
Yeah, probably a couple answers. As we were growing Vantaca, we really leaned on those that went before us. So we really leaned on Live Oak Bank. We leaned on Encino. They were super accommodating to share with us kind of what we could anticipate our journey would encounter and how we could overcome those challenges. So we leaned on that. I would suggest that we do a better job of bringing together this ecosystem of entrepreneurs, software leaders, and other types of businesses that have kind of understood what that journey looks like, anticipate where there's going to be different needs, and help newer companies starting out pursue that. So I think that's a really big deal. I think the other thing is talent in this area. So what I hope Vantaca is going to do for this community, and I think Encino certainly has done and Live Oak has done, is we're going to build not only a great team of people that are going to help us be successful, but a few of those are going to want to spin off and create their own entrepreneurial opportunities. And they're going to learn in a fast-growing environment how to go about doing that. So I'm hoping the second part of my answer is that we'll experience someday some group of people that go out and go, you know what, I think I can do this better than you've done it, and I'm going to go out and figure my own way to do it, and we'll be massively supportive of that.
I think that's right. And the only thing I'll add to that is this is a tight-knit community. It's not huge. There aren't tens of thousands of startups trying to do this every day. So along the way, even in those kind of early scrappy rock fight days as well, we've been so supported and so engaged by everything from the city of Wilmington to the county to the Chamber of Commerce, Wilmington Business Development in the state of North Carolina. It's been kind of like overwhelming support in a really good way. And the combination of that support and then, just as Dave said, just complete willingness of other folks who were further along on that journey to share lessons learned and be helpful was tremendous. And I think the combination of all that, and maybe my hope for Vantaca is that it just is another example of like building a great and big business here in Wilmington, so that lots more folks can do that as well.
And you see yourselves and see the company as staying in Wilmington?
100%. So this is our headquarters, and we try to be here. Thanks, Natalie. Absolutely. It's funny. Early on, we had Dave built a business here and raised his family here, and I'm from Wilmington originally. I was really excited to move back and be able to do this. Early on, we were pretty worried about Wilmington. Like we were here and loved living here, but can we build a company of the scale that we had the ambition to build here in Wilmington? And I was worried, to use a software kind of term, I was worried that was like a bug in our plan, that this was a thing. And looking back, it has actually been like a massive feature for us, because our team loves to live here, loves to raise their families here. We've been able to have people who grew up in Wilmington or who went to UNCW and otherwise would have gone somewhere else come back here and buy homes and bring their families and raise kids here. So it's been maybe the secret sauce for us is doing it here. So we'll be here for a long time.
And so that brings me to my next question. What do you see like as far as the future of Vantaca? What do you see happening next?
Well, I think that some of this is like, what does it mean from a product standpoint and for our industry? But it's really going and touching so much more of the ecosystem that is community association management. And traditionally, it's been a technical solution for this professional property management industry. But we're starting, especially with AI, to go pretty far beyond that and go touch the rest of the ecosystem that is community living. So that's things like resident experience and how residents can engage with vendors and leverage the power of a community of shared demographics with things like buying power for vendors and really try to elevate that community living experience. So it's going, touching a lot more doors, going from 6 to 10 to 15 million doors that we serve, but also going a lot further to try to deliver more value and more services further through that community ecosystem.
Okay, and you mentioned AI. How big of a part do you see AI playing in your company and in your industry?
It's massive. So in a couple of ways. One, the products that we deliver to our customers are heavily influenced by AI. Our agentic solutions are the fastest growing kind of product segment that we have and are really giving our customers an unfair advantage to go deliver better and better service much more efficiently. But also in the way that we build technology and that we service our customers and do all those things, it's given our team superpowers in ways that we're discovering every single week and every single month. And it's exciting. I mean, it's truly changing on a daily basis.
And let me ask you this as we, we just have a couple minutes left, but I've always been interested in how people, like what kind of attributes you think it takes to have the vision that you guys have had, as far as you were 100% certain from the beginning that this would succeed. What is it do you think it takes to be that certain and to go after it like that?
Good question. Like I mentioned early, I had deep domain expertise, so I understood this industry really well, and Ben jumped right in and really became curious about the industry and wanted to learn about it. So I think deep domain industry experience was a big deal. I think being a lifelong learner is a big deal. So the interesting thing, I would have answered one of the challenges in growing the business is, when you're growing as fast as we are, you have to be able to have an organization that can grow their human capital or their human capability or potential at that same rate. And most people can't double their capabilities every 12 months type thing. And so it takes a really massively curious person to want to go learn through all the different avenues that you can go learn today. So I think curiosity is a big deal. And then I think for me, I'd gotten to a point in life where risk taking wasn't as big of a deal. So I had been through a couple different economic cycles in Wilmington and survived them, thankfully. And so it gave me some freedom to kind of amp up my ambition to go pursue bigger risks. So I think those would be a couple examples.
The thing I'll add there, and maybe the thing that has aligned Dave and I over the years so closely, is like having a big ambition of what's possible and just like thinking really big, but then being obsessed with continuing to kind of raise the bar and find, are we performing to our potential as a team? Are we performing to our potential as a company, and not being satisfied with, hey, we grew the business 50%, that's amazing, but if it could have been 70%, like how do we go get that next, and how do we continue to just raise our expectations of what our potential is and just relitigate that again and again. I think that's like the thing that kind of endures for us each and every year, is just trying to find what is the potential to go serve this industry and think bigger and bigger.
Great. Well, thank you so much again for sharing your story and your insights with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's give a hand for him.
Thanks. Thanks, Dad. Lucky we didn't put Topsail steamer up here. If we could please have a round of applause for all of our intriguing speakers today. I just wanted to close out by thanking all of you for being so supportive of the Business Journal and everything we do. And don't forget to get your feast tickets. Thanks.